Hey friends, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So this week we are going to talk about top of funnel friction. What is that? Why does it matter to me as a job seeker? We're going to cover it all. So basically, top of funnel friction is any sort of extra steps or friction, right? Something applied at the top of the funnel that perhaps makes it harder or longer or more complicated for you as a job seeker to apply to a role. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on who you ask. I'm not here to pass judgment. I am simply here to give you information and let y'all decide for yourselves how you feel about this particular process. So, drew y'all a picture. I need a new whiteboard actually. But anyway, I kind of mapped this out for y'all because I wanted to give you a visual. So if we consider this application, so this is a requisition. And so all of these people are applying, or we're going out and finding them, whatever that looks like, and they go into the top of the funnel, right? So these are all of my applicants, my sourced candidates, you name it. And so I have this massive bunch of applications on a requisition. We hear all the time, oh, the requisition got 10,000 applications. Probably not, but let's pretend. It's fine. The number doesn't matter at this point. So we have a bunch of applications. How can we realistically provide fair consideration to everybody who wants to apply while still having some rigor or some filtering, if you will, up top? What does that friction look like? So I know in my world, I love knockout questions. I think that's a great use of knockout questions, is to filter out those very clear yes, no's. I personally happen to work with an organization that has some restrictions around like work authorization, things like that. So a knockout question is a great way to add that friction, add that quick little, yes, no decision tree without needing a recruiter to get involved and pick up the phone and be like, hi, do you fit this criteria? No, bummer, hang up. So we have a different mechanism with that friction to enable us to really focus on the folks that are truly a fit for the role. Other types of friction could be assessments. It could be questionnaires. It could be, we've already touched on knockout questions. So there's different ways that companies can decide to do that. But the idea behind it is to create friction up here so that the right people, and what are the right people? Qualified and interested, are getting through the process so that by the time a recruiter is involved, we've maybe done some pre-vetting. Friends, this is not AI, okay? This is not a robot looking at your resume. This is friction that has been created or implemented by the recruiting team to make sure that the funnel that we are working with is going to hopefully end in that one person who gets hired. Maybe more. Maybe multiple people. How many recs you got? I don't know. But you see where I'm going with this? So top of funnel friction is no different really than some of the later funnel friction. This is where we have like a recruiter screen, phone interviews, physical or virtual on-site interviews, what have you. Each step in this funnel is intended to help make sure the right people are moving to each next step. Okay? We hear a lot of complaints about top of funnel friction, and I understand why. It seems unfair, right? Why do I have to answer all of these questions? Why do I have to fill out this questionnaire? Why do I have to take this assessment? Why do I have to provide all this extra information? You're not going to call me anyway. Friends, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you believe that in your heart of hearts, that I'm just throwing my resume at the wall and I don't expect you to call me anyway, and this is all a waste of my time, why are you doing it? I want you to sit with that for a minute. Why are you doing it? I am really big on spending my emotional energy and my time on things that have a decent return. I have no issues as an occasional job seeker myself, applying to a role, filling out a questionnaire, answering some knockout questions, maybe even writing some content. Maybe there's open-ended questions. This is another form of friction at the top of funnel. Open-ended questions, tell me about your experience with this. Walk me through that. And some of those questions are dumb. I get it. You don't need to know how I would eat an elephant or something silly like that. But to ask me for a career highlight about a role-related thing, okay, I can answer that question. I can probably knock that out in 5 minutes. I'm not scared. That friction has a purpose. And the purpose of that friction is to make sure that your friendly recruiters are able to narrow down that funnel so that we can spend more time and quality time with the folks that truly meet the requirements and show the interest. So what I want y'all to understand is that no matter how many people are up here, you're really only competing with the people who got through this. So when you see those applications and you see that friction and you see the things that maybe feel really extra or that you don't want to do, there's a whole lot of job seekers out there who are also not wanting to do. And so the people who are going through those process steps are obviously the ones likely to get the call and hopefully ultimately the interview and offer, ideally. Now that said, I'm not a fan of unnecessary friction. I don't want filters or mechanisms or questions or assessments just for the sake of it. I think that is stupid. What I do want is appropriate friction that is actually used to move someone's application forward. These open-ended questions is a great example of this, okay? I've not personally seen those for some time. I feel like I used them years ago. I don't even remember what company, but anyway, I vaguely remember some marketing roles I worked on that had something like that in our ATS. But anyway, that I'm okay with because we're using that as application data. We're putting that together with the resume. We're putting that together with hopefully recruiter notes, whatever. That then becomes part of the entire submission, which is what the hiring manager uses to make a decision on inviting someone to interview. So I'm fine with that. Here's the other thing in this year of our Lord 2024 that top of funnel friction could be used for. Y'all ready for this? You know those auto-appliers that some of y'all are paying good money for? You know what I'm talking about? It's a service. You can actually pay a company to apply on your behalf, upload your resume, answer the questions. You know what the answer to those questions often is? This is an auto-applier representing candidate. Please refer to the resume for more information. Oh, I've seen it. I have friends who use things like this, and I've seen it. They've marked out identifying information and shown me what it looks like. This is why I cannot in good conscience recommend auto-appliers. I couldn't do that. I would not personally use them myself. I'm not going to recommend anything to you that I would not personally use myself. See also why Amy never has any brand deals. So if I'm the recruiter on the receiving end of that application and I've got 40, 50 people who've made it to this part of the funnel, and I'm now reviewing those assessment results, those open-ended question answers, what have you, best believe it makes sense for me to take the top 10, 15, 20, and those are the folks that I'm presenting to leadership and to the hiring team and moving through the process. If I have otherwise well-qualified applicants who have provided the application data that we have determined was what makes sense for our hiring process, that's who I'm moving forward with, not the person gaming the system with an auto-applier. Friends, do what serves you best. That is the hill I will forever die on. I am not going to try to convince you that they are good or bad or indifferent. They just simply are. This top of funnel friction exists because it solves a problem that a company has identified in their hiring process. They're not doing it for you, the candidate. The candidate is not the customer here. I'm sorry to say. Okay? Doesn't mean you don't deserve a top-notch candidate experience. You absolutely do. But if a company has made the decision that, you know what, this is a great way to narrow the pool to the people that we really want to invest in and spend quality time with, that's why they do it. And they're going to keep doing it. And they're probably going to do more of it with the rise of AI nonsense, which is happening a lot more outside than it is inside, I promise you. Story for another time. And so you as a job seeker need to think about what you are willing to do, your tolerance for friction at the top of funnel, and let that be your guide. All right? I hope that helps y'all. I wanted to just, again, give you a high-level overview and understanding of why you might be seeing some of the things that you're seeing. I personally think we're going to see more of this friction because, again, applicant numbers are up significantly. People are shooting their shots left and right. Auto-appliers are mucking up everything. There's a lot going on. So, give it some thought. Think about what you are willing to invest in, where you feel is a good use of your time. And let me know how it goes. Drop a comment down below. I'll read all of them. And we'll see you next week.